up in northern Montana, and then from there the American Rockies from that point south are a separate and distinct chain of mountains. So we have the Canadian Rockies and the American Rockies. Now the Canadian Rockies, they're really not very wide anywhere. The widest point for the Canadian Rockies, if you travel straight across from Calgary to Golden or whatever, it's about 120 kilometers, about 80 miles. That's really about as wide as they get at any point, and they do consist of different mountain ranges. As I say, we have quite a few different ones. If you want to kind of give them some broad, general kind of categories, well, then you have, first of all, the front ranges, which is the kind you find around Banff. And that means the one where the layers of rock are all tipped up at funny angles. From the Banff Park Lodge, if you're looking out the window across at Mount Rundle, that would be a kind of a classic front range mountain. You're looking at a kind of a tabletop sort of look to it. Then as you get further west, you get into what they call the Eastern Main Ranges, and that's Castle Mountain. And I don't know if you may have noticed, but the layers of rock are more or less flat. They aren't tipped up. They're all sitting kind of flat, and that's how you distinguish the main ranges. And then as you cross the mountain border and go into British Columbia, we won't be doing that today, but if you were, you have the Western Main Ranges, which is really only a small part of the Rockies, and that is sort of almost tipped backwards. There was so much force exerted when they were formed, is that some of the rocks, not only were they stood up, but they were pretty much bent over backwards. And so they have a completely different look to them as well, but considered to be the Western Main Ranges of the Canadian Rockies. So you have these three broad sort of categories. Then of course you have different names for different ranges, and it can get real subtle after a while. Then you have to get out the map, because there's no way you're going to remember all those little names of all those ranges and such. But that just gives you a kind of a broad picture of the mountain range through which we will be traveling today.